All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 12 o'clock. I'm actually a little bit slightly late because I had like a late breakfast. So I was trying to down some milk as quickly as I could so I could run back up here and then get everything set up. Uh, but give me one more second. All right, we're good now. And it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Will you be mine? Could you be mine? But in all seriousness, ladies and gentlemen, yo peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another Jujutsu Kaisen read-through. As you know, I always read through a volume of Jujutsu Kaisen every Thursday, just as as I'm reading through every volume of One Punch Man every Wednesday, until I'm fully caught up on both series. Today, we are going to be reading through Volume 3 of Jujutsu Kaisen, and if you guys want to follow along with me, either go to the official... Wait, is this Shonen Jump? Yeah, it's Shonen Jump. Go to the official Shonen Jump website if you want to, or whatever site you tend to read your manga from. So, let's go ahead and get started. Last we left off with Jujutsu Kaisen, we had pretty much Nobara and Megumi meet up with some other Jujutsu Kaisen students, because apparently they were talking about this big goodwill event that was going to happen with their schools. So, and then one of them challenges to see how strong they are, and they don't like. And well, actually, he says that I need you to answer me this one question, and if you don't like your answer, and if I don't like your answer, then you're gonna get messed up. So now we get to see what happens between them. We're going to be going through chapters 17 all the way to 24, which means that these chapters should not be all that long. Let's begin. Chapter 17, Boring. And then, because the thing is, Fushiguro starts by saying, why should I care about something like that with someone I just met? And the reason why Fushiguro is saying this is because this dude said Aoi Todo. He asked them he asked Megumi Fushiguro what type of girls he liked. And Todo said that he likes tall women with big butts. So now he's asking Fushiguro that question. But like I said, Fushiguro says, why should I share something like that with someone I just met? And then it comes to Nobara, who says, it's kind of hard for a closet pervert like him to answer that. Shut up, says Fushiguro. The situation's bad enough without you complicating it. And then we cut to Aoi Todo saying, Kyoto, 3rd year. Aoi Todo, introduction over. Now that we're friends, hurry up and answer. It can even be a guy. And then Todo continues by saying, a person's taste reveals everything about them. Guys who have boring tastes are boring. I don't like boring guys. The goodwill event gives me a rush. If my final one ends up being boring, who knows what I might do? This is me being nice. Answer me now and you'll escape with just a few bumps and bruises. And then it has this little note here down at the bottom of the panel that says, though Jujutsu High is a 4-year school, the Goodwill event is open only to 3rd years and below. And then Todo continues his question by saying, so tell me, Fushiguro, what type of girls do you like? And then it comes to Fushiguro thinking about Nobara saying, thinking, Kujisaki's unarmed. We should avoid conflict. And then it cuts to Nobara, who's thinking, are those summer clothes? They're annoying, but I'm jealous. And then Fushiguro's thinking, why do I have to answer? It's not a bad thing to not forgive people. Oh wait, it cuts to the woman that was speaking to Megumi in his past. It's not a bad thing to not forgive people.
Megumi, that's your way of showing kindness.
And then it cuts to Fushiguro saying, I don't have a preference. As long as a person is compassionate, then I don't need anything else. And then, the other student that's there with him kind of, gushes a little bit at that type of answer. And then Nobara says, not a bad answer. And then Fushiguro just says, shut it. If you had said, then Nobara also says,
If you had said big boobs or something, I would have killed you myself.
and then Aoi Todo says, I knew it. You're boring, Fushiguro. And Fushiguro immediately braces himself as Aoi Todo lands like a lariat on him and sends him flying at the other opposite end of the hallway. With Nobara saying, Fushiguro! And then the woman behind her, grabs her and says,
Ah, poor Fushiguro. Even though he's a genius who began school as a grade 2 sorcerer, up against a grade 1 like Todo-senpai, he's nothing but a first year. I guess I'll check to see if he's okay. I guess I'll check to see if he's okay later.
And then Nobara says,
At first I thought you two looked alike, but forget that. Maki is 100 times prettier. You getting enough sleep? I can see the pores on your face. Watch your mouth,
she says, as she points a gun into the side of Nobara.
Or I'll teach you a lesson.
Then it cuts to Todo coming back after he knocked Fushiguro outside, saying, I knew it as soon as I saw you. This guy is definitely boring, but it's not good to judge a book by its cover, right? That's why I asked you anyway, but you trampled all over my kindness. And then Fushiguro thinks, is the inside of your head also a pineapple? Todo? Could he be that Todo? As Fushiguro thinks back to the past. Last year, an unprecedented Jujutsu terrorist attack that came to be known as the Shinjuku to Tokyo night parade of 100 demons was led by the curse user Gato. And I say Gato, not Ghetto, because that's how they pronounce his name in the dub. Was led by the curse user Gato. 6 cursed spirits, 5 grade 1 and 1 special grade appeared on the night line. They were defeated by Todo single-handedly. How did a grade 1 sorcerer win against a special grade curse? And then it comes to Fushiguro saying, I hear you refuse to use your curse technique. And then Todo says, oh, that's just a rumor. I used it against the special grade. He didn't bother using it against the grade 1 curses? He's a beast. Well, isn't that a relief? And then Fushiguro summons his Nue. Nue, Toad, the well's unknown abyss. And then Todo just cracks his neck, with Fushiguro thinking, my opponent's a super close combat fighter. I'll keep my distance to nullify his strengths. Then the toads start to scatter around him. Well, it's not that the toads start to scatter around him. It's just that Todo is directly behind Fushiguro, and he grabs him in an instant before Fushiguro could even react. Let me get back in the center of the screen here. I'm sorry. And this catches Fushiguro off guard. He's fast. Was he going easy on me earlier? And then it shows Todo getting Fushiguro in a bear hug with him saying, so weak. Both your body and taste in women. And proceeds to suplex him. And then as he's getting suplexed, he tries to punch Todo, but Todo flips away from him. And then proceeds to grab Fushiguro's face and then drive him into a nearby wall with enough force to actually leave an impact crater in the wall. Then Todo says, as he starts to grab around Fushiguro's face, not done yet. And apparently, he proceeds to push Fushiguro upwards through the building that he had him pressed against, with enough force to send him flying in the air a little bit. Like I said, boring. And as he tries to jump up there after Fushiguro, all the toads that Fushiguro had latch onto him with their tongues and try to bind him to the ground. And then Toto lands and says, "Are you even trying? Don't get ahead of yourself. If that's what you're thinking, then I'll show you." And then Toto notices someone, and it's Inumaki, who says, "Don't move." And Toto can't move as Panda comes in saying, "What are you doing?" and proceeds to punch Toto directly in the face. And then Panda just says, "Whew, made it just in time. Fish flakes. Or not." And then Toto just doesn't say anything, and then he says, "Long time no see, Panda. Why couldn't you wait until the event? Now get out, or I'm gonna scream like Eek." And then Toto says, "You don't have to tell me twice. Where's my shirt? It seems that this might not be as boring as I thought. Be sure to tell Okotsu to show up." And then Panda can only think, "What a pain. Me Panda know no human speech." And Inumaki doesn't say anything. And then it cuts back to Mai. I knew her name was Mai. I was just drawing a blank on it. I'm sorry. It cuts back to Mai, who says,
"If you're gonna continue being a sorcerer, then you better watch who you pick fights with."
As it shows that apparently she shot Nobara multiple times with her gun. But since it's like a weapon that she uses with cursed energy, I'm guessing it's not fatal to Nobara. It just hurts a lot, I'm guessing. Because Nobara's not dead, obviously.
And then someone comes in saying, "Mai, what do you think you're doing to my errand girl?" "Oh, you're so worthless I didn't notice you, Maki."
And Maki has shown up in order to rescue Nobara. And that is the end of chapter 17. Onwards to chapter 18, Bottom.
I'd say we're both pretty much worthless. All you do is imbue things with cursed energy. You don't even have a cursed technique.
And then Mai says,
"Well, that's better than not having cursed energy at all. If I keep looking up at my goals, then my neck will start to hurt. Sometimes I have to look at what's below me."
"Forget it. What a waste of time. We're both at the bottom. Nobara, can you stand?" And then Nobara doesn't say anything.
"I doubt it. She'll be down for a while. I got her pretty good."
And then it shows Maki aiming her staff at Mai. And then Mai says,
"What? You want to go at it?"
And it shows that Nobara is actually fine as she jumps up and proceeds to get Mai in a multi-lock hold and wrestles her to the ground, with Nobara saying, "Nice work, Maki."
"You tore my new tracksuit. Leave your uniform behind as compensation. I'll make it my summer uniform. Maybe I should open up some more holes in your body next. Besides, your legs are too short to make this look good."
"I'll kill you," says Nobara. Yo, C-Des, what's going on? Reading through Volume 3 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Follow along if you like, on whatever site fits your fancy. We're on chapter 18 right now. And then it cuts to Toto saying, "Mai, we're leaving." And Nobara says,
"What?"
And then Nobara says,
"What?"
And Maki says, "Where's Fushiguro?"
"Don't worry, Panda and the rest are with him."
Well, Nobara says, "Where's Fushiguro?"
"Don't worry, Panda and the rest are with him," says Maki.
And then Toto says, "You look like you're having fun."
"As if I was just getting started."
"Forget it. Unlike you, I got some important business in Tokyo." Takada's meet and greet event! And the Takada is apparently a tall idol that Toto is a fan of. Because apparently she fits his criteria of women that he actually likes. Takada's meet and greet event! So he's like into idols. And all the girls are just looking at him like, "Are you serious, dude?" What if I miss the train and don't make it on time? Who knows what I might do? Let's go, Mai. I can't believe I couldn't get tickets for the Kyoto event.
Sheesh, you're such a pain. And then Mai looks back saying, hey everyone, don't think we'll go this easy on you at the Goodwill event. And Nobara says, what? You think you've won or something? I said leave your uniform! And then Maki kind of bops her in the head saying, yo, idiot, shut it. And then Maki says, what happened today doesn't matter. We'll stomp them at the event. Ah, Maki, is it true what she said? That you don't have any cursed energy? And then Maki says, it's true. I can't even see curses without these glasses. I use tools that have been imbued with a curse. I can't manipulate my own cursed energy like everyone else.
And then Nobara thinks back to the knife that Gojo gave Yuji when they went in to take down their first curse. You like Jujutsu Kaisen, you just gotta sit down and rewatch it again. You was watching for the graphics. Artwork is mad fire. Oh my goodness. The anime for Jujutsu is absolutely amazing. So amazing. Like, everything is so well animated. It's like, remember back in the day, anime that was in the 90s style? Thinking back on what we had back then, you would never think that we would get anime that would have such smooth art, smooth animations, and smooth frames that it just looks beautiful in every single instance. Jujutsu Kaisen is one of those animes, along with Demon Slayer and the current season of One Piece. The animation is just absolutely flawless, and the art design is great too. But Nobara's thinking back to the knife that Gojo gave Yuji when they went in to take down those curses, like 2 volumes back.
The knife that Itadori got must be the same. Then why did you become a sorcerer? To piss people off. Think about it. What if someone who's looked down on me like what if someone who's looked down on like me becomes a great sorcerer? How would my family react? I'd love to see their faces. Come on, let's go see Shoko.
And then Nobara smiles,
and she walks with Maki saying, you know, I really respect you. Good for you.
And then we cut to the other part of the Jujutsu High, with an old man sitting in a chair saying, Yaga's still not here. This comes at a high price for an old man who doesn't have much time left. And we get introduced to this old man who has like multiple piercings over himself. It's like he's got like nose rings and lip rings and earrings. Kyoto Jujutsu High School Principal Yoshinobu Gakuganji. That's such a cool name. Yoshinobu Gakuganji. Ooh, that just rolls off the tongue. Gakuganji. Principal Gakuganji. Ooh, that is such a good name. I forgot his name was that. The opening you will never go tired of looking at. Ooh, yes. And the fights in Jujutsu Kaisen in the first season as well. Good. This time comes at a high price for an old man who doesn't have much time left. Kyoto Jujutsu High School Principal Yoshinobu Gakuganji. And then it cuts to Gojo, who's sitting across from him, saying, Principal Yaga won't be here for a while. We forced, scared, Ijichi into giving you a fake schedule. Let's talk about it. It? What are you talking about? Don't play coy, old man. This is about Yuji Itadori. A conservative leader like you has to be involved. Well, I'll be. The youth these days don't even know how to speak with respect. I don't intend to. It pisses me off how high and mighty old folks are these days. And then someone comes in. Am I reading from the beginning of it? I read from Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 0, and I am reading through every single volume because I have every single physical volume of Jujutsu until I actually catch up to where the manga is. And the same can be said for One Punch Man as well. So One Punch Man and Jujutsu are another series I have officially added to the channel. So yeah, I read from the beginning, and now we're currently in the middle of it. I love it. But Gojo says, I don't intend to. It pisses me off how high and mighty old folks are these days.
And then someone says, "Hey, how dare you? I'll be sure to tell the people in charge about this."
Kyoto Jujutsu High School second year, Kasumi Miwa. And then she's saying this out loud. Yo, Stellus, what's going on? We are currently on chapter 18 still of volume 3 of Jujutsu. Follow along if you like. And Kasumi Miwa is saying all of this, but in her mind she's thinking,
"Oh my god, it's actually Gojo, it's really him!"
And then Gojo says, go right ahead, I won't be long.
"He talked to me! He talked to me!"
And then Gojo says, last night we were attacked by 2 unknown special grade curses. And this surprises Principal Gakuganji. I'm sorry to hear that. Save it. This happens all the time to me. It's like getting flyer handouts in the street.
Wow, he's so cool!
Those curses were able to communicate. I bet there are more out there on their level. And it's not just enemies. Akari, Okotsu, and Toto from your school. The students these days have gotten much stronger. Then there's the Suguru Geto incident from last year, as well as a vessel of Sukuna appearing. What are you trying to say? Don't you get it? The wave of power that you guys have been ignoring to maintain your status, and in the name of stupid traditions, has gotten huge and is approaching. The new generation won't be limited to special grade. And here it directly shows the panels of Aoi Toto, Yuta Okotsu, and Yuji Itadori. You like Gojo? He's in a league all of his own. I like him too. I just love voicing him. Just the cool nonchalant vibe he has about everything. He's one of my favorite anime characters. The new generation won't be limited to special grade. If you think I'm the only one who's gonna question your authority, you're gonna be in for a world of hurt, old man. And then Gakuganji just glares at Gojo saying, You've got quite the mouth. Yikes, I've said my piece, so I'm out of here. Oh, right. Principal Yaga should be here in about 2 hours or so. See ya! And then Kasumi is thinking,
2 hours?
And then Gakuganji says, Miwa, please go and buy some tea.
Right away. If I hurry, maybe I can get a selfie with him.
Then we get some narration as it cuts to Toto, which says, Toto arrives safely at the venue. Would it be okay to request a Takatan beam?
Sure. Takatan!
Wow. Because earlier, Toto was saying how he wanted to go to this special Takada meet and greet for this tall idol that he admires and likes. And he's doing that, and then the person who's running the line says, time's up. Then we go to 1 month later. Report, September 2018. Kinema Cinema, Kawasaki City, Kanagawa Prefecture. And it's a movie theater, but it shows three people sitting in a chair, but their heads are misshapen and pulled in multiple directions. After the movie finished, the deformed corpses of 3 high school boys were found by the theater staff. Cause of death, increase of pressure to the brain and asphyxiation due to cranial deformation. So they died to having their brain squeezed and asphyxiation by literally having their heads deformed. And then someone says, excuse me, was that you at the movie theater? And this is Mahito. Who was there with Geto when Geto came with Jogo. And apparently Mahito is there in the alleyway, and some kid is there saying, was that you at the movie theater? And Mahito says, you can see me? And then it cuts to Yuji outside of the cinema, along with another guy there, who says, it's a gruesome scene. Are you ready? Itadori? And that is the end of chapter 18. Now we move on to chapter 19. And before I say anything more, let me get this guy's name. Kento Nanami. So Kento is there with Yuji, and he says, "Are you ready, Itadori?" And that's the end of chapter 18. Onwards to chapter 19. Hold on, let me make sure. I always got to make sure that the frame rate of the video moves well enough whenever I do something, but without it being too messed up. I think it should be fine. It should be fine. As long as you guys can hear me, it's good. Chapter 19, Young Fish and Reverse Punishment. And we get narration.
If there was a button for killing the people I don't like, I wouldn't be able to press it. But if there was a button for killing the people who don't like me, I wouldn't hesitate. Darn it. High schoolers shouldn't be skipping class to watch movies. Neither should I,
says this kid who came across Mahito earlier.
And why'd it have to be them?
And then it says,
"He was looking at my boobs."
"Well, your boobs bounce when you run." Totally. Yo, shut up. So, did you look?
No.
Are you calling Tsubasa a liar?
Yikes, is that even fair? Look, a half-off coupon. Darn it, that girl. She's just using me to confirm her status. I'm gonna say it. You're not as cute as you think you are. You guys know that, but you still flatter her because she looks...
And he gets hit as he says, "Easy." You good? Okay, you good. As long as you guys can hear me, all right. And then it cuts back to this kid who is back in the movie theater as these three students. Three students that were in the movie theater with the deformed heads are sitting there before it happens.
I can't focus on the movie. I can't believe people like that go to my school.
And they're talking during the movie, and they're on their phones, and they're just being disruptive, and he's trying to tune it out, going,
"Shut up. Turn off your phone."
And then Mahito is right behind them saying,
"Hey guys, let's mind our manners, okay?"
And he grabs the same one that confronted this kid in high school by the neck, and his head immediately starts deforming on the spot.
What happened?
And then he thinks back to Mahito being there.
Was it that guy who did it? There's no way a person could do that. If he did it, he must not be human.
And then Mahito is there saying,
"If I'm the one who did it, what are you gonna do? Judge me? Were those guys important to you?"
And then the kid goes back to his thinking, "It shouldn't be a problem, you can just eat it." Thinking back to, I guess, when he was being bullied by these guys. And veins start to pop up on the side of his head as he asks,
"Could I do what you did?"
And then someone puts a cigarette out saying, "Who are those guys? Why are they investigating the crime scene before the authorities?" And apparently these are investigators who are trying to find out why Kento and Itadori are there. And one of them says, "And one of them's a kid." "I'm not sure either, but you saw those bodies. That's not natural. Just pretend you didn't see anything, or else you're looking at an early retirement." Then we get Kento, who says, "Can you see them? The residuals of cursed energy." And then Yuji just says, "Nope, I don't see anything." "That's because you're not trying to see it. We actually witness curses every day." Grade 1 Jujutsu Sorcerer Kento Nanami, the official introduction to him. I just wanted to get his name out of the way because his name was already at the front of the page. If a curse technique is activated, traces are left behind. We call them residuals. However, residuals are weak compared to cursed spirits. Please concentrate and look harder. And then Yuji is staring. And then he says,
Whoa, I see it!
and he sees like the residuals left behind in the hallway. Of course, sensing before seeing is standard for one who is capable. How about being a little bit more encouraging? I won't praise or insult you. I'm here to identify the truth and uphold the law. There was a time when I thought society had the same goals, but that's a story for another time. Let's follow the trace.
Roger that, let's do this!
There's no need to get so excited.
We're not getting along all that well.
This is gonna be tough, says Yuji. Thinks Yuji.
Sorry I can't be there this time, but I've brought a reliable protege to take my place. Office worker dropout sorcerer Nanami.
Please don't call me that. And this is the introduction to Kento to Yuji by Gojo.
There's a lot of weirdos among Jujutsu sorcerers, but Nanami here is a former office worker, so he's reliable.
I wonder what the others would think hearing you say that.
Dropout? Sunglasses? People here like to hide their eyes. Why didn't you start as a Jujutsu sorcerer?
Why don't we introduce ourselves? Nice to meet you, Itadori.
Oh, right. Nice to meet you.
And Yuji bows, because we're going back in time when Yuji first met Kento. What I learned at Jujutsu High is that Jujutsu sorcerers are idiots. And this just draws a blank stare from Yuji as Kento continues. And what I realized while at the office is that working is idiotic.
Oh, really?
So I took the lesser of two evils. Nothing more, nothing less. He's a straightforward kind of guy, this Kento. And Yuji is talking to Gojo in the background saying, he's so gloomy. And Gojo says, I know, right? Itadori. Though Gojo and I think differently, I trust him and have faith in him. But I don't respect him.
What?
I'm not a fan of the way things are run, but I follow the rules. Sorry for rambling. For that reason, I don't acknowledge you as a Jujutsu sorcerer. Prove to me that you can be useful, in spite of the demon Sukuna inside of you.
I'm weak and useless. I've been hearing a lot of that these days. But I'll become strong. If I don't, then I won't even be able to choose the way I die. I'll be sure to prove you wrong, so just have a little patience, okay?
Be sure to tell the authorities, not me. I don't really care.
Okay.
And then it cuts back to Kento and Yuji back in the movie theater.
There wasn't anything caught on video, right?
Other than the victims, there was only one witness, a boy.
Could it be a cursed spirit?
Most likely. Although it's possible that the boy could be responsible. The police are investigating where, and then it cuts to a spirit out in the street going, Bento box. Bento box. And it glares at Yuji, and Yuji prepares to move towards it to attack it, and Kento says, stop. I'll take care of this. Itadori, I'll leave that one to you. And Yuji doesn't notice that another spirit was staring at Yuji's direction, but Nanami already knew. I need to stick to either one name, either Kento or Nanami. I'll stick with Nanami. And this spirit is saying, good detergent. Good detergent? What, are you thinking Gain? Because Gain be some good detergent. Nanami then says, if you think you're in trouble, let me know.
Have some faith in me, will ya? Just a little?
It's not about faith. I'm an adult and you're a child. I have an obligation to look after you.
A child? I'd rather be underestimated.
You survived multiple near-death experiences, but that does not make you an adult. Finding more and more stray hairs on your pillow than before, your local store no longer carrying your favorite bread, experiencing those little losses is what helps people grow into adults. And as he unbuttons his coat, he takes out this cursed, bandaged up sword of some kind as he walks towards this curse. And that is the end of chapter 19, onwards to chapter 20. Young Fish and Reverse Punishment Part 2. My technique forcibly creates a weak point on my opponent. 7-3. When dividing the subject into tenths, if I'm able to strike that point, it's a critical hit. I'm able to inflict significant damage on stronger adversaries. Against an opponent with weak cursed energy, I can cleave them even with this dull blade. Are you listening, Itadori?
Huh? You were talking to me?
Is it okay to reveal all that? Is it okay to reveal all that? I want to focus on the curse, but I need to listen to him. There are techniques that aren't affected if revealed to certain enemies. There's also the strategy of misleading by revealing. There is merit to revealing one's hand and the rules it initiates. You can make your technique even more effective. Like this. And as he swings in the direction of the curse, he hits it in all of its legs effortlessly and slices through the legs of this curse. And then Nanami just flips his sword around and puts it behind him with him saying, "That's it from me." And Yuji can only go, "Whoa," like Keanu Reeves. Whoa. Even though the blade is wrapped up, he still sliced through it with the back of the blade. Then it shows the other curse that was next to Yuji trying to bear down and hit him, and Yuji jumps away, with it saying, "Detergent." Not paying attention, huh? Because you're talking to me! And then all of a sudden, Yuji stops, and he starts channeling cursed energy in his hands. And then it cuts to a flashback. Yuji, your cursed energy has a lag. Lag? And apparently he was being trained by Gojo a little while ago, with Gojo saying, "Your cursed energy can't keep up with your speed, and since you can't control it well, the trajectory is linear. Instead, it causes a unique flow of cursed energy. The energy comes charging in right after you make contact. In other words, one strike can equal 2 blows." And it shows Yuji gearing up to punch, and he punches into the curse, and it strikes twice as hard, and winds up blowing a hole straight through this curse, through the chest, with a move that is now called Divergent Fists. And then Yuji thinks, "That's so cool!" And then it cuts to Gojo saying, "But it's a lot easier said than done for anyone else. This'll be a huge weapon for you." And then it cuts to Nanami just thinking, his physical strength is superhuman. The impact of his hits doesn't have incredibly strong energy, but it's still about 20% more than a normal sorcerer. That means his delayed hit comes from his main source of cursed energy. It must be quite annoying for those on the receiving end. Such potential, if he's able to go all out and combine his full physical strength with a cursed technique. I can see why Gojo took him on. And then it cuts back to the curse that Nanami sliced through completely, with it going, "Box!" And then Nanami saying, "Apologies, time to end this." Then he looks down at this curse and looks at the watch that is on this curse, and it's ticking. And then Nanami says, "It can't be. Is this even possible?" And then apparently he takes his phone out. And then as Yuji prepares to beat up on this other curse, Kenta says, "Itadori, what now? Stop attacking." "Why now?" "Take a look." I took a photo of my opponent." "What?" "I thought curses didn't show up. Please stay calm and listen. What we were fighting." And then it cuts to Shoko, who's inside of her mortuary room, saying, "They're humans, so these are not cursed spirits. They're not cursed spirits. They were humans turned into this." Just your average simp? Welcome. Hope you enjoy yourself while you're here. We're currently going through chapter, 20? Yeah, we're currently on chapter 20 of Jujutsu. Enjoy yourself, and follow along if you like, with whichever site you go to read manga. "They're humans," says Shoko. "Actually, more like ex-humans. The same as the 3 in the theater. Their bodies were transmogrified using Jujutsu." "If that was it, I would have noticed. If that was it, I would have noticed. The two we fought possessed cursed energy like a curse.
And then Shoko continues on the phone saying, "We're going to have to ask the murderer about that technique. However, there's evidence the brain stems were modified. Their consciousness were also modified to create a state of confusion. It might be possible to give cursed energy to humans if you could manipulate their brains
Manipulate their brains. Manipulate their brains!
It's possible to give cursed energy to humans if you can manipulate their brains in such a way. The connection between the brain and cursed energy is shrouded in mystery after all. Hey, is Itadori there? Yeah, I'm here. Their cause of death was due to a lethal shock to the system because of cellular transmogrification. You didn't kill them. Don't you dare think otherwise."
And because, with Yuji punching one straight through the chest, and then finding out that they were once human, it can leave people remorseful, but it sets Yuji's mind at ease as he just says, "Okay." And then Nanami turns his phone off. "Forgive for me, the gravity of death is the same regardless. But this isn't right," says Yuji. And then Nanami thinks, this kid genuinely gets upset over other people's deaths. The residuals were a feint. They were meant to lure us out. They're skilled. This matter won't be taken care of so easily. Let's do this.
Right!
Then it cuts to another part of Tokyo, and it cuts to someone chilling in like an underground sewer reservoir, and it's Mahito, there with the kid from earlier.
"These are spirits known as special grade potential spirits. Cursed spirits are a culmination of cursed energy leaked from humans. An image of fear shared by the masses, even if not real, can manifest as a powerful curse."
And then the kid says,
"An image of fear shared by the masses? Like famous monsters or ghosts?"
"Yep,
like Hanako or the nine-tailed fox. Jujutsu sorcerers brand such entities as special grade potential spirits and fear them as much as powerful unidentified curses. The fact that they categorize them as such really shows their shallowness. But what people fear the most aren't those fairy tales, right?"
And then the kid thinks,
natural disasters?
And then Mahito leans up and just says,
"Talking with you is so easy." "Huh? Really?" "The earth, the forest, the sea. People have always feared them. The cursed energy directed at them was so massive that before they could take form, they gained consciousness and remained in hiding. I'm proud to call them my friends." Mahito, where are you born from?" "People. Thanks to the hatred spewed between people, I was born."
And that is the end of chapter 20. Why don't I watch the anime? The anime is great. Oh, I have. I've already watched the anime. The anime is beyond great. It's actually top tier. I'm just reading through the entire Jujutsu story because the anime has stopped only at season 1. But the manga volumes greatly go further than where the anime went to. Trust me. I dare say I will catch up to the anime as soon as I get to volume 5 or 6. But the manga itself, the reason why I'm reading through the manga is because, there's only so much the anime has caught up on right now. But the manga goes farther than the anime. So that's why I'm reading it for you guys and adding it to the channel. Because I want to know more about Jujutsu. And I've actually been meaning to add it to the channel for quite a few months now. So that and One Punch Man are series that I'm reading here. But yeah, I have watched the anime. The anime is absolutely great. And I highly recommend that anyone who's an anime fan of any kind go watch Jujutsu Kaisen. Because it's just that good. Whether you're watching it in sub version or the dub version, both versions are great. That's just how I feel about it. That was the end of chapter 20. Onwards to chapter 21. Young Fish and Reverse Punishment, part 3. Now, real quick, we got a little bit of info here on Kento Nanami. He's 27 years old. How am I older than everyone who gets an info part? I'm 30. Everyone is under 30. Even Gojo's under 30. How am I older than everyone? Except the principal and Yaga. Kento Nanami, 27 years old. I remember that year. His maternal grandfather is Danish. There aren't any other sorcerers in Nanami's family. Sorcerers wear sunglasses to stealthily observe curses. Curses can be aggressive when they know they're being watched. Gojo has a separate reason. He loves bread and is a foodie. He is 184 centimeters tall. All right, onwards to chapter 21. And then it cuts to Mahito, who's speaking with the kid from earlier.
Don't you think that whoever first said the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference, must be rotting in hell? There's no way hating people is better than feeling indifferent toward them.
Oh wait, this is the kid saying it.
The opposite of like is hate. Complicating simple answers for the sake of meaning is such a Japanese thing to do.
And then Mahito says,
people like wordplay. After all, people can't live without making excuses.
And it shows Mahito in front of a large malformed... I think this is a person. This isn't a curse, but it's a person that Mahito transformed. It's just ginormous in comparison to Mahito. And then the kid says,
what is this? An experiment to see how big a human can get. And that one's the opposite, to see how small one can get. Because it shows the kid holding this little lump of flesh in his hand, and it turns out that that's another human. But compressed to such a small size, you wouldn't even be able to tell that it's a human. And then the kid says, this thing's human?
And then we get the kid's name, Junpei.
Junpei, aren't you bothered by corpses? I don't know. But if, say, that was my mother, I would hate you, of course. I know how evil people can be, so that's why I don't expect anything from anyone. That's why someone else's death means nothing to me. Indifference, that's what humans should strive for. Sounds more like revenge. Are you saying that I got it all mixed up? Junpei, do you think people have heart? Huh? Don't they? No, says Mahito. They have souls, but that's different from heart. So you mean in this world, only I understand the soul's composition. I could even transmogrify living beings. Emotions come from the soul. It's too simplistic to call it heart. People overthink the things they can't see. I can see the soul, so for me it's nothing special. It's practically the same as the human body. It just exists. Do you understand? Life has no weight or particular value. Just like how water flows through the earth, life simply flows. For you, me, and everyone else, it's the same. Without meaning, without value. That's why you can do whatever you want. Live the way you want. Don't limit yourself to just being indifferent. There's no reason to live by such a restricting philosophy. If you're hungry, eat. If you hate, kill. I support everything you represent, Junpei.
And then it just shows him crushing the little mound of flesh that used to be a human in his hands. So whoever that person used to be, they have now ceased to be. And Junpei can only look on. And then it cuts to Ijichi, Nanami, and Itadori in an office with him saying, Recent disappearances and deaths by disfiguration. Thanks to intel based on the Window's encounters with the residuals, we can locate the killer's hideout. All right, let's do this! Not so fast, says Nanami. This is just an approximation. We need to gather more information. You'll be doing something else. The boy at the movie theater, Junpei Yoshino. Apparently, he is the victim's classmate. The only cameras were located in the theater's hallway. Based on the way he carried himself, there is no reason to believe he is a curse user. However, the connection to the victims must be investigated. Curse user? A jujutsu sorcerer with evil intent. I'm leaving things to Ijichi, so please work together to investigate Yoshino. Investigate, Yoshino. And then both Ichiji and Yuji just give him a salute like, we'll make sure it gets done.
I don't know any other assistant managers beside you.
Well, I'm the only one that knows you're alive.
Let's go,
says Yuji as Ichiji looks back at Nanami and says, it's not just an approximation, is it? You know the exact location. And then Nanami just says, of course. If they wanted to, they would have been able to leave the crime scene without leaving residuals behind. It wasn't an invitation to either come alone or risk bringing Itadori with me. I chose the former, nothing more. He's still a child after all.
Nanami-sensei! Please be careful, I forgot to say that,
says Yuji. As Yuji leaves, and then Nanami just says, Itadori. I'm not a teacher, so please don't call me sensei.
Okay, Nanami.
I'm going to smack you. And then it cuts to people walking through the streets as Yuji is riding with Ichiji through the streets. There he is.
There he is. He's not in uniform.
And then Ichiji says, it seems he hasn't been to school in a while.
So, what are we gonna do?
What the heck? Scam likely.
Boy, if you'll get off my phone.
Trying to read to people.
So, what are we gonna do?
We'll use these.
Cursed spirits?
And it's like small spirits inside of a very small cage. Flyheads. They're small-time curses that aren't even grade 4. When there's no one around, I'm gonna have them go after him. Gah! 1. If he's an ordinary person who can't see curses, please rescue him. 2. If he can see them but doesn't have a means of fighting back, again, please rescue him. We shall then proceed to question him. And then 3. If he fights back with Jujutsu, arrest him immediately. And then Yuji just says, by force? Yes, by force. It's fine if it's a misunderstanding. We can apologize later. However, if Junpei Yoshino seems to be at a grade 2 sorcerer's skill level or higher, please retreat and meet up with Nanami. If he's grade 2, I think I'd be able... And Yuji says, if he's grade 2, I think I'd be able to manage, actually. If he were a curse, perhaps. If he were a curse, perhaps. Do you remember what Fushiguro said? Sorcerers are typically assigned to missions involving curses of the same level. A grade 2 sorcerer is supposed to win against a grade 2 spirit. A grade 2 sorcerer is close to the skill level of a grade 1 curse. And here it has like the different stages and levels comparable to that of a sorcerer and a cursed spirit. So you have cursed spirits have special grades and sorcerers have special grades that all try to keep in tandem with one another. Like a special grade of grade 4 sorcerer goes a grade 4 curse, and then the numbers that precede correspond to the skill level of that Jujutsu sorcerer. A grade 2 sorcerer is close to the skill level of a grade 1 curse. But the thing is about it is that the way the numbers are, they're not exactly parallel to one another. So it's basically saying that a grade 4 sorcerer can take on a grade 4 and grade 3. Grade 3 can take on grade 3 and 2. Grade 2 can take on 2 and 1. And grade 1 can take on 1s and possibly... Well, it doesn't exactly say it can take on a special grade, but special grades tend to be right next to each other. But Aoi Todo is an example of a grade 1 being able to take on a special grade.
Why haven't I been filled in about important details like that?
Because Gojo is your sensei, Ichiji thinks to himself. We're walking from here. This feels like a bad plan.
And then it cuts to the sewers as it cuts to Nanami, who's down there, and he's already butchered numerous curses.
Show yourself already. Even if they are disfigured and lost causes, killing humans leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Oh, good, good.
And then Mahito shows up.
It'd be a problem if Satoru Gojo showed up, but someone too weak wouldn't be worth experimenting on.
I don't like working overtime, so let's finish this quickly.
And that's the end of Chapter 21. Onwards to Chapter 22, Young Fish and Reverse Punishment, Part 4. A lot of parts here.
They're alike. An almost textbook superficiality.
And then it cuts to Gojo just saying,
I'm gonna kill you! As he's prancing through some flowers. And beyond that, deep, dark strength. As it shows Nanami and Mahito clashing with one another in a double spread page where it's just nothing but different moves from Mahito and Nanami as they both try to clash with one another. And then Nanami uses his ability to slice into the weak point of Mahito and slices into his right forearm, with Mahito jumping back.
I thought I defended properly. I used cursed energy. Was that some kind of cursed technique?
What do you mean by some kind? I don't appreciate questions that are left open to interpretation.
Oh, good. Seems you don't mind talking.
That depends on who I'm talking to. A cursed spirit who's able to hold a conversation like this. It would be silly to not assume a connection with the 2 unregistered special grade curses Gojo was talking about earlier.
Hey, the soul or the body? Which do you think came first?
Says Mahito. And Kendo just he's all like, what? He's thinking that. He doesn't say that, but he's like, huh?
You know, like the chicken or the egg. Does the soul dwell in the body, or is the body built on the soul?
I guess I'll humor him. The former.
Wrong. The answer is the latter. The soul should always exist before the body. The shape of the body will always be dependent on the shape of the soul.
And it shows Mahito healing his arm completely as it snaps back into place and completely regenerates.
I'm not healing. Instead, I'm reinforcing the shape of my soul. You get it now, don't you? My curse technique can touch and reshape the soul.
And then he picks up a little piece of human flesh and he says, he does a curse technique called
Idle Transfiguration.
And then this little small speck of flesh turns into this human shape, but it's misshapen.
I make humans small and store them. It's pretty hard, you know. An ordinary person eventually dies after being transfigured. But what about a jujutsu sorcerer?
And then Nanami says, it's 5:30. I started work today at 10, so no matter what, I'm clocking out by 6. Ooh, I like how this man worked. Then it cuts to Junpei, who's walking by himself. And then someone saying, Yoshino, where were you? Says some sort of fat person that's right next to him. You can't skip out on school like that.
Sotomura sensei.
Why'd you run away? Did you hear? Sayama, Nishimura, and Honda all died. You were all friends, right? I almost felt like something was crawling on my arm for a moment. I ain't got no bugs in my room. And when his sensei says, you were all friends, right? And this dude is sweating bullets. Like, how do you sweat sitting down? But then Junpei is shocked and says, huh? They always looked out for you since you don't have friends, and you weren't even at their funeral.
Friends? Me? With them?
Come on, I'll go with you. Let's offer up some incense.
He's insane. Teachers, all of you go to graduate school and then find work out of school. You haven't experienced the real world, have you? And you. That's why adults who are just big kids like you exist. You and everyone else.
And then it cuts back to the words of Mahito to Junpei saying,
I support everything you represent, Junpei.
What are you mumbling about? Spending too much time by yourself got you crazy? Just kidding. And he's saying this, but he's also huffing and puffing, like even the very act of laughing makes him tired. There's Fat, and then there's this guy. And then it shows Junpei putting his fingers up like he's about to do a cursed technique of some kind. And then Yuji says, stop! As it shows Yuji flying in right behind one of the fly insect curses, fly heads that Ichiji let out. And then it cuts to 5 seconds earlier. 5 seconds before the mission's botched. 5 seconds before the mission's botched. And then it cuts to Ichiji talking to Yuji saying, here we go, Itadori. Hold up, someone's there! Huh?
Oh, he can see them.
And then Yuji flips and skids to a halt right next to Junpei. And then the fat guy, Sotomura, is thinking to himself, what? Is he a gymnast? And then Yuji says, hey, there's something I gotta ask you. Come with me for a sec. And then Junpei looks at his clothes and thinks, this button. Hold on, can't you see that I'm talking to him? Hold on, can't you see that I'm talking to him right now? How rude. Sorry, but it's really important. Important? Important? What does some kid know? And then Yuji, without batting an eye, just drops and pantses the guy as he says, besides, what kind of And then he gets pantsed by Yuji. And Junpei doesn't say anything and starts running away with the guy's pants. You little brat, stop it! Please don't! As Yuji runs away with his pants. And then Junpei is thinking, what just happened? Hold on. Family picks such a wonderful time to vacuum right outside my room right now. But then Junpei says, what just happened? All right, let's go. And it shows Yuji, who has already ran to the back of Junpei like he did a full circle around the block and caught up to where Junpei was in a matter of seconds. Huh? That was quick. Did you go around the block? And then you didn't have to do that. You could have just dragged me off. And then Yuji says, I guess. But you don't like him, right? Why? It's just a hunch. Am I wrong? No, you're not. You don't want someone you hate hanging around your house, right? And then Junpei says, yeah. And then it cuts to Mahito, who's still fighting with Nanami as he says, is that it? Grade 1 sorcerer. And apparently Junpei has been nicked in his side as he's bleeding in the side of his suit. How unfortunate. What? His cursed energy. I'm now working overtime. And it shows Nanami loosening his tie. And that's the end of chapter 22. Onwards to chapter 23, Young Fish and Reverse Punishment, part 5. There are a lot of parts. And then it shows Nanami channeling in his cursed technique as it shows what happened leading up to this moment. As he continues to use his cursed technique to slice through all these transformed humans that Mahito keeps transforming, with Mahito saying, you're not bad. And as he throws some humans out, he transforms them as they both go speeding towards Nanami. And Nanami, seeing how fast they're going, uses that same clothed blade to stab it into a nearby wall to stop his forward momentum to keep him from getting hit by these flying human flesh projectiles. How fun. He changes people's... and then it cuts to Nanami thinking, he changes people's shapes, but does their mass stay the same? Either way, it's not a good match for my technique. And then it shows that these people who are being transformed by Mahito are still conscious, as one says, help! Help! Apologize. Family was asking me what food I wanted to eat. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have this done before they get back. Let's continue on. But the piece of flesh that Mahito threw at Nanami is going, help! Help! And then Nanami can only think, a person once disfigured cannot be helped. If they come after you, kill it without hesitation. Oh wait, this is when Shoko was saying this.
A person once disfigured cannot be helped. If they come after you, kill it without hesitation. It's for the sake of the victims as well.
And then it cuts to Mahito, who says,
Oh, sorry. I practice a lot, so even if I change their shapes, they don't die immediately. The brain, consciousness, it's still not perfect. The sweat of the soul trickles out like that sometimes. Don't worry about it. Let us continue.
And then as this transformed person is sticking into the wall, they're crying a little bit, and then Nanami wipes a tear from their eye, as Nanami then says, I'm not worried. I don't bring my personal feelings into work. And then Nanami starts laughing and says, What a terrible liar! Your soul is wavering. What rank are you? And then Nanami flips his sword out saying, Grade 1.
No wonder you're strong. Perfect for experimentation. Lucky me.
And then it shows Mahito, who was able to close the distance on Nanami with lightning speed. And then it shows Mahito grabbing into the side of Nanami, and with him grabbing a piece of him off and ripping his side. He just grabbed into his side and just ripped it. Just a rough kung fu grip ripped his flesh off, and Nanami feels this, and now we know how he got that wound on his side. Then we cut back to the present.
Did I surprise you with how much faster I got all of a sudden? I can even change the shape of my own soul.
And he says this by transforming his legs into that of like hooves that allow him to move at a faster pace.
Even if sorcerers can protect their bodies using cursed energy, they can't protect their souls. First off, one must acknowledge one's soul. Without that, it's impossible. But it seems you're subconsciously protecting your soul using cursed energy. Otherwise, you'd be just another pawn to me. Well, after 2 or 3 more times, you'll no longer be human, as it shows Mahito channeling cursed energy in his hands. Is that all you've got, Grade 1 sorcerer?
As Mahito's feet turn back to normal.
You did a lot of running. Are you at your limit yet?
And then it shows Nanami, who's taken his tie off, as he says, How unfortunate. I'm now working overtime. And then Mahito gets surprised as he thinks,
What? His cursed energy is increasing? Overtime? He restricts himself based on time? He was limiting his power until now?
Interesting, says Mahito as he jumps down from a high place down to where he is. And then Nanami explains, My curse technique can divide a subject with lines and forcibly create a weak point at the ratio point of 7:3. The lines don't have to measure up to the target's full length or wingspan. Head, torso, biceps, forearms. I can decide what part to divide.
He's divulging his technique. You're not playing around.
And this technique is also applicable to non-living beings. And then Nanami is thinking, in order to exercise the spirit, I'll have to either keep dealing damage until the spirit runs out of cursed energy, which is not realistic. And then it shows Nanami running a far distance away from Mahito, with Mahito saying, Running again? And then Nanami continues saying, Or completely destroy him with one blow. And it shows Nanami jumping into the air and uses a technique called ratio technique, collapse. And it shows him punching into a wall with such force that it completely destroys not only the wall, but also a ginormous portion of the roof as well. And this surprises Mahito as he thinks,
What power? And what was that streak of cursed energy? An expanded curse technique applied to the destruction.
So he completely destroys a wall. It's not the roof, but he completely destroys a wall and the debris starts to fall towards Nanami.
A large-scale attack and he doesn't care if he gets hit while doing it? I better. And then he vocally says, dodge this. And then it shows Nanami using his technique again on Mahito and hits Mahito in the leg, as he says, I shall take my leave. You should do the same after you fix your leg. We'll meet again, if we're both still alive by then. As it shows a giant piece of the roof falling down where Mahito actually is. And then it cuts back to Yuji and Junpei, as apparently they can feel this destruction underneath them, with someone saying, huh? An earthquake? Yeah, felt about... An earthquake? Yeah, felt about a 2.0? No good, I can't reach Ichichi. Can I just start questioning him now? And then Junpei is just looking on curious in one direction. Can I just be straight with him? How much about Jujutsu High can I tell him? Pick up, as he's steadily trying to get Ichichi, with Ichichi apparently in another location, who's apparently chasing one of his other flyheads. As it says, Ichichi gives chase to the second flyhead. Come back! As he's trying to chase it with a butterfly net. What should I do? Says Yuji. Thinks Yuji. And then it cuts back to when Mahito was talking to Junpei. If you run into students wearing a spiral button, you should befriend them. They're Jujutsu sorcerers. I'm sure you'll hit it off. And then Junpei is also thinking, but I thought sorcerers were Mahito's enemies. Forget it. I'll just ask him. And then it shows Itadori going up to him saying, hey, people died at the movie theater you were at. Did you see anything? Maybe something weird like this? As he holds up one of the flyheads. And Junpei immediately thinks of Mahito, with him lying, saying, no, I didn't. I only became able to see things recently. Oh, then I got nothing else for you. That's it. But my superior's coming soon, so can you wait a bit? Sure. Anyway, what movie were you watching? It's an old movie, you wouldn't know it. Tell me! Earthworm Man 3. That's such a boring movie, I can't tell you how many times I got punched watching it. He's seen it? Punched? Thinking back to when Gojo was making him train to watch all sorts of movies and keep his cursed energy level at a certain level, or risk getting punched by a cursed doll that was made by Yaga. Sheesh, but it's a splatter film, so I guess it's not the kind of movie where you can expect some kind of story. But the second one was actually not bad, as they both look at one another, and they both start to hit it off, with Junpei saying, yeah, exactly. The second movie has some redeeming qualities. And then, apparently, Geto is watching them as he just says, jackpot. And that's the end of chapter 23. Onwards to chapter 24. I think that might actually be the last chapter. No, we still got another one after this. We're not done. Chapter 24, Young Fish and Reverse Punishment, Part 6. At first glance, Part 2 isn't any different than 1 or 3. The way Perfectionist is willing to lay everything out there is beautifully portrayed. I couldn't figure out why I liked it so much, but I guess that's the reason. I watched it 3 times. It was also the one with the most intense score, so it was a bit much. Why did you put yourself through that, says Yuji to Junpei. So, you like movies, Itadori? Special circumstances had me watching a bunch lately, but not in a theater. Oh yeah? Great movies are really worth watching at the theater. Though on demand's pretty convenient. And Netflix. And HBO Max. He doesn't actually say that, I just added that in myself. I can't remember the last time I went. You gotta take me sometime. Oh, how can I contact you? Here. And then it shows Yuji giving Junpei his phone. As someone says, huh? Junpei? Who's that? Mom? And it shows his mom, who's smoking and carrying some groceries. Is this a friend? I just met him. We just met, but I think we'll get along. What's your name? Yuji Itadori. You and spring onions really don't match. I know, right? I'm aiming to be a lady that doesn't go with spring onions. What are they talking about? And then Junpei takes the cigarette away from his mom, saying, I thought I told you to stop smoking. Pocket ashtray, please.
Yeah, she says. Yuji, how about joining us for dinner? And then Junpei is all like, hey! Don't be a pain! My food's a pain? And then it just shows Yuji, who's just in the background as his mom goes back and forth with Junpei. Junpei's mom goes back and forth with him. And then Yuji's stomach grumbles. Got anything you can't eat? Allergies? Nope, says Yuji to his mom. Then we cut back to underground, where apparently Mahito was buried underneath that rubble, but is able to reshape his body and flow out of the cracks of it, and then reform his body back to its original shape, with him just coming to a hard thud and just laughing. Like I thought, that sorcerer's nuts. And then it cuts to Geto, who's now there standing next to Mahito. You guys went all out. Geto! He was an interesting guy. I learned a lot. Is that so? Even if I'm crushed to bits, as long as I can sustain my soul's shape, I won't die. My cursed energy is also controlled by my will. And it seems like I can freely manipulate the shape of my soul without risks involved. Give me your clothes. No. I'll try a bunch of stuff next time. Where's the sorcerer? Not sure. He said he'd retreat, but he might be trapped under the rubble. Then it cuts to the streets where Ichiji is driving through screaming, What? At Junpei Yoshino's house? You can't! It's no problem. We're watching movies. Movies? Even if Junpei Yoshino was somehow involved, I doubt he would be able to do anything to Itadori. Understood. I'm on my way. Get out if you feel anything's off. However, as a manager, this is a huge failure. It'd be one thing if it was Mr. Irresponsible Gojo, but I think I'd cry if Mr. Mature Nanami chews me out. Gotta hurry! I don't want to cry in front of other people at this age! And then it shows that Kento Nanami is now calling him right now. Ah! He's calling early! I'm done for! Hello? And then it cuts to Kento, who's saying, I've sent you my coordinates, so please come pick me up. I need to head back to Jujutsu High to see Ieri for some treatment. Treatment? Don't worry, it's not life-threatening. Thank goodness. I'll pick up Itadori and head your way. You're not with him? I'm such an idiot! And then Ichiji just... And then Nanami just ends the call and he just breathes in as he's trying to keep his side from bleeding too much, because he's in like some sort of public bathroom as he's keeping himself from bleeding out. And then he thinks back to the words of Mahito when he said, I've been practicing a lot. Perfect for experimentation. Lucky me. That cursed spirit is a child, thinks Nanami. It doesn't seem like much time has passed since he appeared. He's greedily enjoying his growth. The spirit Gojo fought could even use domain expansion. If the child spirit survived, it's only a matter of time before it reaches that point. We can expect an unfathomable body count. Sorry, I had to say that in one go, because I can't just let that just lie like that. If we're not quick in exercising him, we might pass the point of no return. And then it cuts to Yuji with Junpei's mom and Junpei, and he's going, and then Takashi with full confidence says, it's an alien embryo and picked it up. It was just konnyaku yam noodles from lunch, and it shows his mom, and it shows Junpei's mom laughing at Itadori. Yam noodles, it was yam noodles. Mom, you're drunk. Yuji, do something funny with this, and she picks up a tray. What an irritating drunk, thinks Junpei. Wilson! And then Junpei starts laughing as well, because he's, as Junpei says, that's from Castaway, isn't it? As he's coughing. And he says, yup. And then his mom says, huh? I don't get it. A movie? And then it just shows Junpei constantly laughing. Then it cuts to later, as his mom is now fast asleep. Your mom's a great person. Yeah. School? You don't have to go if you don't want to. Kids your age have too much on their mind anyway. School is just one small fish tank. There are other tanks out there, even the ocean. Choose what you think is best. Not bad if I say so myself. And then Junpei says, what's your mom like? Oh, I never met her.
I barely remember my dad either. I had my grandpa, though. And then his phone starts ringing. Sorry, that's my phone. And then he's on the phone saying, sorry, we're watching movies. And then Junpei says, you're a jujutsu sorcerer, aren't you? Yeah. Was it okay to tell him? Have you ever killed anyone? And then Yuji just says, no. And then Junpei says, but you'll eventually run into bad sorcerers too, right? What'll you do then? And then Yuji says, I'd rather not kill anyone if possible. Why? They're bad people. I mean, the choice to kill will definitely find its way to me. If I question the value of life at that point, then maybe the lives of those important to me will also become vague. And that scares me. Then time passes, and then Junpei thinks back to what Mahito said. People don't have heart. Oh no, this is Junpei thinking this. People don't have heart. I was saved by those words. I was given power. But if killing someone means that my soul is stained, then I can't kill. Then, Junpei's mom wakes up, and she starts stretching. She goes, I need to stretch as well. Did Yuji go home already? And she notices something. Huh? What is this? A finger? And apparently, a finger is just sitting right... Is this one of Sukuna's fingers? I'm guessing this is one of Sukuna's fingers just sitting on the table as a big old curse starts to come up out of the ground right behind Junpei's mom. And that is the end. That is the end of chapter 24. Onwards to chapter 25, and the title hasn't been shown yet because it's a black page showing, following the incident at Sato Zakura High School, the dead body of Junpei Yoshino's mother, Nagi Yoshino, and an exposed Sukuna's finger, left extra arm pinky, were found at his home. Nagi Yoshino is believed to have been killed by a spirit drawn to the finger. Her body was severed and missing the bottom half. Oh my goodness. No visible evidence of blood was found at the scene of the crime. Nagi Yoshino was found in her bed, stuffed with an enormous amount of ice packs. Wow. That curse came in and killed her in order to get the finger. Chapter 25, Narrow-Minded. And then it cuts to Yuji standing there with Kento saying, Am I in your way, Nanami? Take me with you next time. And then Nanami says, My friend died, but I wasn't there. Because I am a child, I wouldn't do that to you. That said, the answer's no. As you know, the enemy manipulates transfigured humans. Some people really are rotten. As long as you're in this line of work, you'll be put in situations where you may have to kill someone. But that time is not now. Please understand. Being a child is not a bad thing. For now, please continue to monitor Junpei Yoshino. I didn't have many black clothes, so I opened my mother's closet and grabbed the first thing I saw. And this is Junpei. Today, the morning air I'm so used to breathing, and the path to school I'm so used to taking. This is a cursed object, which attracts curses. And then, this is Mahito speaking to Junpei. This is a cursed object, which attracts curses. Why? What is it doing in my home? There are curse users who curse people for the sake of money. It was probably someone like that. With the right connections and money, anyone can easily kill someone with a curse. Can you think of anyone? Perhaps someone who resents you or your mother? Someone with plenty of money and time on their hands? And then it cuts to the school. Sato Zakura School, I'm guessing. With someone announcing, Welcome to the awards ceremony for top honors in the National Essay Contest. Shota Ito. This is embarrassing. Shota! As the girls fawn over Shota. And then he waves back at them and the girls just fawn over it like, Eee! And as he goes up there, it shows other students as well. With Shota saying, Hey, what the heck are you doing?
I thought I told you to write something average. What am I doing getting top honors? You got a death wish? And the kid next to him says, sorry. And you're just a runner-up. And it actually says LOL in this same speech bubble, with one student saying, Shota's so cool.
Really? He's okay for a rich kid, I guess.
And then it shows black darkness starting to come up around the school, which is basically a curtain coming up.
What's that?
Where? So apparently someone can see this curtain being put up. And then Mahito invokes the curtain saying,
Emerge from darkness, blacker than darkness. Purify that which is impure.
And then the school becomes shrouded in a curtain.
Hey, I got it. I got it.
Sorry, Mahito. I can't afford to leave my residuals behind. How's the curtain coming along?
Can't get in, can't get out. This only applies to humans with weak cursed energy.
And then Geto says, who's there with Mahito? A curtain without prior announcement will certainly be reported by the windows immediately. I hope you get what you want. It should be okay.
The moment Junpei met Sukuna's vessel, the plan was set in motion. We'll make them fight and force Yuji Itadori to make a binding vow in Sukuna's favor.
And then it cuts to Geto saying, I wish Jogo were as level-headed as you.
He's honest and cute in his own way, but was that okay? That finger is a precious cursed object, right?
And then Geto says, it's all right. The finger at the detention center was consumed immediately by Yuji Itadori, so I'd like the finger left at Junpei Yoshino's house to be retrieved by Jujutsu High. And then Mahito says, gonna cause some trouble? Yup, I'm gonna go take it easy now.
You should stay. It should be fun to watch. The deaths of foolish children.
And then it shows all the students that were there inside for this national essay contest. Everyone that was in the auditorium have all just dropped unconscious. With the with that Sotomura guy, you know, the fat guy that was there questioning Junpei earlier in the chapters. He's the only one conscious, with him saying, hey, what's wrong with everyone? Are you okay? Hang in there! Then it cuts to Junpei walking up with brand new clothes on and a fully different demeanor, saying,
they won't die.
Yoshino, why? No! Do you know what's happening here?
Teacher, please remember.
And then he pulls his hair back that's always been slicked over this whole time, and apparently he has a scar over his head, over the right side of his head. It looks like left on your screen, but it's right for me.
Please remember.
You! That scar!
Everything that happened, as well as what's about to happen.
And then it shows that Shota Ino is still conscious while everyone else is down, with him saying, Yoshino, I have some questions for you. Are you the one who put that thing in my house? Huh? What are you talking about? And before he could say anything else, spots starts appearing all over his body, and it starts to creep up the side of his face as he starts screaming out, what did you do?
Excuse me?
And then Junpei smacks Shota and sends him flying across the floor, with Junpei saying,
you seem to think you're in a position to answer a question with a question.
And then he kicks Shota.
You're gonna die no matter what you say. I have no way to tell whether you're lying, but you deserve this for everything you've done. At least show some dignity in your last moments.
As it shows Shota in the air, just levitating off of whatever power Junpei has. I'm sorry.
And? So what?
And then there's a big bam as the door swings open, and it's Yuji, who looks in on all of these students who are passed out. He sees Shota floating in the air with those spots all over his body as he screams out, what are you doing, Junpei? And then Junpei just stares at him with this aura of just absolute malice and murderous intent as he says, stay out of this, Jujutsu sorcerer. To be continued. And that ladies and gentlemen, is the end of Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 3. All I can say for the entire hour and 30 minutes that I've done this entire read-through for today, I enjoyed going through everyone that was introduced, Mahito and everything, and seeing where the story is going. We're drawing closer and closer and closer to the point where I actually will catch up to where the anime is, and then I start to find out new stuff about Jujutsu that I didn't know before. All I can really say is that I'm not going to keep you here any longer than I already have. So all I can say is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all. I'm looking forward to where the story goes. Okay, let me just say that before I do my intro. I enjoy this series. I really do like this series. And I can't wait to see you guys next Thursday as we continue with Volume 4 of Jujutsu Kaisen. So at the end of the day, all I can really say is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then like, subscribe, and maybe even consider becoming a member. Oh, I nailed that intro. Because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples. I've been working on that outro for a minute and I always fumbled it. So for me to be able to pull that off for the first time, yeah, it was a pretty big moment for me. I'm happy. Time to eat.